Alright, my friends. Today we are going to be doing a comprehensive review, look, tutorial, comparison, whatever you want to call it, on the new Dominique Cosmetics Latte 2 bundle. I went ahead and bought the bundle. The palette has new shades that I don't own, and the glosses are colors that I don't own either. I got this in the mail. It comes with a palette, 2 different glosses. Stick around at the end of the video. I am going to be comparing both the Latte 1 and the Latte 2 palette. Timestamps will be linked down below. Let's go ahead and get started without further ado. Alright, so here we have the palette. The Latte 2 palette looks like coffee stains. I think that is so incredibly cute. So if you go ahead and you open up this bad boy, here are the shades. Now, if you can see, I'm gonna flash you the mirror, but there is a saying right here on this mirror. Don't get your finger in it. Jeez. It says, every day is a fresh start, and I completely agree. The palette that we have, as you can tell, let me scooch back a little bit. Okay, as I was saying, is that better? So sorry. So the palette, as you can tell, is a mix of cool tone browns and pops of color. You've got this matcha shade, which is like a green turquoise, blonde roast, which is yellow, and strawberry milk, which is pink. You've got frothy. These are all matte, by the way. Cafe con leche, coffee beans, cafecito. If I said that incorrectly, please correct me. And this actually has more of a red undertone to it. And then you have your shimmers, which is drizzle, iced coffee, and frappe. I already used drizzle, coffee beans, and cafe con leche to see the look I have on my face. So 3 shimmers and 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 matte. Am I that correct? 7 mattes. The bundle came with 2 different glosses in square packaging, and this has a D and C on the side there, and this is the shade Cream. This is a nude shade that's it's nude. What else is there to say? It's nude. And then this is the shade, I can barely read that, Java, which is brown. Let's go ahead and get into some swatches, and then we will start with the eye looks. Being dramatic. I changed into my swatch shirt so I don't get it everywhere. Starting out with the mattes, you've got Blonde Roast, Matcha, Strawberry Milk, Frothy. That kind of disappears into my skin, doesn't it? Cafe con leche, coffee beans, and cafecito. And please forgive me, I'll get better at swatching things. And for the shimmers, we have frappe, iced coffee, it's a little powdery there, drizzle. That's beautiful, that shade. Flabby arms say hello, by the way. Look at my fan. Ah! I am not a beauty guru. So here are the swatches all together. As said before, this is like one of the only few times I've ever done swatches. So, swatches. Hey Darian, take a look at these swatches. Does anybody else sleeps in Seattle? Okay, anyway, here are your shades. Now, Frothy and Cafe con leche kind of disappear into my skin tone a little bit, but they show up on the eyes. I can promise you that. So, there are your swatches, YouTube. That's dirty. All right. And before I go, I just tried to use my son's baby wipes because I'm trying to save time here, to get off these swatches, and as you can see, the dark shades, these were the shimmers down here, but these dark mattes, even the shimmer, I think, have some pretty good staying power. My arm's gonna be red. So I'm going to swatch these glosses on my hand for you so that you can see. So we're gonna start with Cream. I don't know if that hardly showed up at all, but this has a pinkish undertone to it. Very glossy and a little bit sparkly. I'm out of breath because I'm trying to keep my son's nap extended. He don't like sleeping by himself. This is the shade Java. Ooh. That's not too opaque though, is it? That's kind of sheer. Yeah. So those are the two new gloss swatches. So after filming a look with this palette yesterday, I was not happy with my footage. I had something weird going on with my under eyes. They looked horrible. And I've never actually done my makeup in the space before. It just didn't turn out okay, but that's not the fault of this palette. So what I ended up thinking better of is I'm gonna just do some looks and show you what I did, doing a whole bunch of different looks, using all the shades. And then at the end of the video, I'm gonna compare this palette to the original, and I'm gonna do both sides. Like one eye is gonna be this palette and one eye is gonna be the original, and you can see me applying them there. Like I said before, timestamps are gonna be listed down below in the description box if this just these looks don't interest you. So for this look today, what I ended up doing was I ended up using Strawberry Milk in the crease there. I ended up packing it on, blending it out, and then using this and building it up. I think that this shade builds up into a very beautiful pink. I also used Cafecito right here. This is that like reddish brown in the crease. And what I found with this shade is it's not as dark as Coffee Beans, but at least combined with Strawberry Milk, I didn't really get the reddish vibes that I thought I would. And I put it under my under eye, and maybe you can see it better when it's by itself under my under eye. Oh yes, I also set my lid today with Frothy. Cafe con Leche. Both of these shades kind of match my skin tone. Well, this one is a good setting shade for me. And this one, I would have to build it up a little bit for a transition, but it's not, it's a little, right now at the moment, here in winter, it's a little too dark. So I prefer, with my skin tone, setting with this shade here, and it did a great job. And for my shimmer, I went ahead and used Frappe. Now, having swatched these, I can tell you that this shade is not as creamy and smooth as Drizzle and Iced Coffee. This has more of a glitter texture to it. I don't know what the box says. So this can be a little more chalky feeling. However, I like the way that it looks on the eye. The after effect, they're just gorgeous. So no complaints there, just, you know, be aware of the difference. I did get a little bit of fallout, just a little, with the Cafecito shade as well. To me, that's not a big deal. If you don't like fallout, just be aware. You may need to build these up slowly and tap your brush off. Okay, so that is look one, and we will continue on our journey of using this palette. I also forgot to mention that I am wearing the gloss, her gloss in Creamer, on my lips. This definitely lightens my lip color, the natural pigment in my lips. I haven't decided if I'm in love yet. So I will let you know at the end of the video, by the end of the week, how much I'm enjoying it. Maybe I just need to like let it sit for a minute. I'm not sure. I'll make my mind up later. Okay, so day two, look two. I went ahead and set my lid with Frothy, which, having done a look with this yesterday, I decided this shade was a better match for me for setting the lid entirely. And then I went in with Cafe con Leche in the crease as a transition shade. It barely shows up, but it gets the job done. I decided to show off this matcha shade because, let's be honest, when you saw this palette for the first time, is that where your eye gravitated to? Because that's where mine did. I had an issue. Let me show you up close. If you can see that, what I should have done is not set the lid before I used this shade. I've done colorful looks before. I know better, and I wasn't thinking. Because what ended up happening is I put it on with a brush, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna need to build this up some. built it up. I put like 4 layers on, and I was finding that it was kind of blending away. And so I went in with my finger. Okay, I got a lot more payoff. But again, it kind of blended away, and I finally figured out this is mixing with this shade probably like it's supposed to, and it's going who knows where. So what I should have done, if you're interested in knowing, was I should not have set the lid. I should have put this down before I did anything else. If you want a look like this, if you want to just use this all over the lid, I would suggest you set the lid with anything first. I did use coffee beans on the upper lash line. I drew it on, and the lower lash line. I don't know how well I did that. Not a fault of the shade, it's just I don't normally do that. When it blended with this shade here, I think it kind of lost its luster a little bit. I think I prefer liner. But it does blend away very nicely. You can see I'm kind of messed up. It blends very well. And then I again put frappe in my inner corner just a little bit because I've got dark circles and I need to cover those up. I did end up getting fallout with this matcha shade. When I'm packing it all over the lid, I did tap it off, and I still got fallout underneath here. So be very aware of that when you use Dominique Cosmetic shadows. I think they have a lot of kick up, oh my gosh. And they do tend to have some fallout. So if I were you, I would definitely do my eyes first, especially if you're gonna use this matcha shade all over the lid. I also ended up putting the gloss in Java all over the lid, and I am so pleasantly surprised with this shade. I didn't think I was gonna like this on the lid. This is on the lips by itself, but I do. I think it's gorgeous. When I swatched it on my hand in the video previously, I thought this is really sheer, I'm not gonna like this. I was wrong. I like this a lot. This is great. I like this, and this surprised me. I like this shade by itself on my lips more than I like creamer, which I called it cream earlier. It was creamer. So what I think is going to end up happening is this shade's probably going to end up being a topper shade for me, but this shade will probably go in my purse. So that is look 2, day 2. Let's move on to tomorrow. For today's look, I went ahead and used Java on the lips alone. Again, I am headed out to the zoo today, so I don't really want to put lipstick on. For today's look, I ended up focusing on the golds and the yellows here in this palette. Because of yesterday's, by the end of the day yesterday, this shade was almost gone. So what I ended up doing today was not setting the lid. I used Tarte Shape Tape all week long on the lid, and instead of setting it with Frothy today, I just left it alone. I blended it out, and then I went in with Blonde Roast in the transition area. I got a lot more bang for my buck, I feel like, in terms of these colorful mattes, and it didn't, let's be clear, I packed it on first, because I didn't want to just go in there without anything underneath it to blend it together, and then once I had a base layer down, then I went in and blended it. I also put Cafecito in the crease just a little bit, to kind of deepen that up, and I put Drizzle as my shimmer as well. I also put Cafecito underneath and smoked that out with Blonde Roast. And this turned out great. I like the matte here without setting it way more than yesterday. I'm liking this yellow. It's a gold yellow, and it kind of comes across a little bit with mustard shade in there, just a tad. I mean, I wouldn't call that a true mustard, but it does have that kind of tone going on, and I think it pairs really nicely with this gold. The one thing that I've learned about Dominique shimmers is that they look different in the pan than they do going on the eye. So while this looks kind of like it would be, oh yeah, that's a little gold, like it might look a little, what's the word, coppery even. No, it's like a yellow gold. And you saw the swatches that I did, so I went with that today. Look 3, day 3. All right, so for my last look, what I'm going to be doing is a comparison with the 2 different palettes. On this eye, I am going to be doing shades from the original Latte palette, And on this eye, shades from the new Latte 2 palette. And I'm gonna try and match them as best as I can to see how well they are matchy-matchy and if you really need both. I went ahead already so that it wouldn't crease, and I set my lid over here with vanilla cream. And then I set on this eye with frothy, and I really can't tell a difference, guys. I know that when you swatch it, and I will swatch it for you, when you swatch it, it comes out a little bit different, but not like on the eye, you can't really tell. So let me swatch that for you. Vanilla cream, frothy. Now, I can tell a difference on the swatches. Vanilla cream has a lot, I don't know if you can tell that on my skin tone, but it's got a lot more yellow to it. Okay, I'm going to, as a transition on this eye, I'm gonna swatch them first, and then I will put them on the eye. So as a transition on this side, I'm gonna go in with Caramel. Looks like a good transition shade for me. These swatches are horrible, I'm sorry. And on this eye, I will go in with Café con Leche, which that's gonna be different, I can already tell. In the outer corner, my Latte 1 side, I'm gonna go ahead and go into Mocha. And on this eye, I'm gonna use Coffee Beans. I can already tell from the swatches that the Latte 2 is a lot more powdery and the Latte 1 is more creamy. And lastly, because this isn't going to be too complicated, for the shimmer, I haven't used the really dark shades yet. On my Latte 1 eye, I'm going to use Espresso. And for my Latte 2 eye, I'm going to use Iced Coffee. This is gonna be a little bit different. We'll see how these work out when I put them on my eye. Going into Caramel. And I did build that up quite a bit so we could catch that on camera. Okay, I'll go in to Café con Leche. That is the exact same amount of passes. I think I did like 4 buildups, and you can tell there's a major difference. I mean, honestly, like, there's no comparison. This is gonna be fun. So I'm going in to Mocha. Okay, I'm gonna go into Coffee Beans. Having a lot more trouble blending this coffee bean shade. It's not matchy-matchy. Let me go back into that shade so I can match up where they're supposed to be. That's kind of coming off patchy, I'm surprised. Can you see that? I'm gonna blend that again. Okie dokie. I think this is as good as it's gonna get for now. I don't wanna overblend one side, because I want to do it as evenly as possible for you guys. Okay, so over here I said espresso, so I'm gonna just use my finger. This eye I'm going into iced coffee. Wow. I'm having fallout with both shades, so let me clean that up really quickly. I'm gonna finish my eyes and I will be right back with my final thoughts on this because I have a lot. All right, so for the lips today, I had a Flower Beauty Petal Pout lipstick in Naked Blush. It's a matte. I gave creamer another chance and put it on the lid, and I definitely like it on top of lipstick way more. For the glosses, I definitely think creamer goes better with my lip pigment on top of lipstick. I don't really like it on its own all that much. But I do love Java on the lips. I think that this is a gorgeous shade on any skin tone. So I'm glad I went ahead and got that. For the palette, Okay, when you're comparing these two palettes, which one is better? The original Latte palette is better. I like this palette more. If you see my eyes, you can see I had a lot more fallout and it's looking a little dark under there. So with my original Latte eye, it blended much better. The shadows in the original I feel like are a lot creamier. They blend well. It's a warmer palette, don't get me wrong, but I like the performance of these shadows more than these. This is not a bad palette, don't get me wrong. It's just not exactly like the original, which is what we're all expecting. We all want to know, is it just like the original, just different shades? No. I think that the mattes in this palette are less creamy than the original. I was a little disappointed with this matcha shade. It did not perform up to my standards. This shade Frappe, now caveat, I did message Dominique Cosmetics the day I filmed that very first segment. It was a week ago. I messaged them like a week ago about this being glitter or shimmer, and I have yet to hear back from them, so I can't speak to that. But it does perform differently. Now, her video said that this is like a light pink base with silver sparkles, but it didn't say anything about glitter, and neither does the box. It's different than the other two shimmers. These two shimmers, I really like them. They're very, very good. They're very creamy and they go on well. I liked that on the eye. The two dark mattes, in comparison to this palette here, they don't blend as well. They don't perform, for me at least. I'm not a makeup artist, but I just, for the everyday makeup person, you're gonna have to work with this palette just a little bit more than you would the original palette. If you had to choose one, if you ask me, Rachel, if I like both color stories, but I want quality, I would go for the original. If you like this color story more, then by all means, you can go for the Latte 2 palette. Just be aware that there are just a few things in here that I was not a fan of. Overall though, I am not sad that I bought this palette at all, by any means. I think I can work with this after some practice to get the looks down and make them look spectacular. It's just not as user-friendly as the original, in my humble opinion. Did you guys notice that I dyed my hair in the middle of this video? So, I'm sorry if that bothered you, but I'm not sorry I did it. I think I'm gonna have to end up going over this other eye with a darker shimmer because I have somewhere to go later and I want them to match. If you stuck around this long to see all of the goodies that I have about the new Dominique Cosmetics Latte 2 palette, I thank you so very much for your patience. If you want to see more videos like this from me in the future, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave to stick around and see what other kind of videos I have for your YouTube entertainment pleasure. Be kind to yourself out there, folks, and I will catch you later. I'm tired.